Welcome to
Grab Life by the Horns.
Powered by Legacy Builders Global, and we are Jennifer Pecan and
Jan-Mark Pecan. Hello and welcome to another episode of Grab Life by the Horns. And today we have the topic, why Google is your best friend. And we'll get a giggle out of it. Now, why do we choose the topic? And I know Google is a very controversial topic and a lot of people say they are dominating and data protection and the influence they have and the documentary Social Dilemma on Netflix and all those things. Not going to be part of that podcast. So if you're looking for those answers, you might tune off now. But what we want to talk about today is how Google can be a great tool if you want to build a business, if you want to get better as a person, if you want to get better as an employee. Google is really a great topic. And if we talk about Google, I mean, you can also talk about Bing and all of the other search engines. It doesn't matter. It includes YouTube. It includes also podcasting. So all of those different things are really important. Now, the first question for us and for today is basically, how do you use Google and why would you use Google as a tool of knowledge?
Well, you look at me, so I guess I'm the one who answers.
You are the one who answers.
Welcome to our today's episode from my side as well. Well, I think we picked the topic because we realized that a lot of people are just too lazy sometimes to Google or to search in YouTube for tutorials how to get something done or how to get the knowledge. And basically what we point out here is that education doesn't have to mean that you have to book like expensive seminars and something like that, because the most people, like the most coaches or influencers, they put their stuff for free out there. It just takes longer to grab all the things if you don't want to buy a seminar or an online course or whatever. You can get everything for free if you just grab the things together. So my question would be, are you doing this already or not? And what are the benefits out of that?
Well, I mean, if you look at, seminars and online courses and so on, they are great tools too. And we use them a lot of the time. And the advantage you have, first of all, if you have seminars, and especially when they are in person, you build the network and you learn with other people, but you get usually you get a workbook and you get knowledge really in a very condensed form. Like you can learn a lot in 2 days of time. But for example, a great example usually is when it comes to Excel. Because Excel is a program that, like our brain or like the smartphones we use only very little of the capabilities usually as users of what that program can do. You can program everything but it's not about what it can do, but a lot of people, they say oh yeah, I don't, and I have heard that in my career over and over and over again.
Oh, yes.
When people say, oh, I need an Excel course, I really can't do that. And the thing is that they either don't want to look the knowledge up or they don't know how to look the knowledge up. Because if you nowadays there is really this there's a hashtag like learn with TikTok or however that hashtag goes, but you can use TikTok as a great example as a tool here as well. You can use it for education purpose and watch cats flying off the roof or teenagers doing crazy dance parties. You can all of this, but there are channels, whole channels dedicated only to Excel. And if you want to know something about Excel, then you put Excel in the search and you can learn in 1 minute one little thing in Excel. So it's not a problem of that the information isn't available anymore. I mean, I grew up in a time when I when I was in school, And we had to prepare for a talk in the school, and we needed to pick a topic like the whatever castle, medieval age, Romans, whatever it was. We actually had to get on a bicycle or by foot to something called a library, had to look for a book, and hopefully the book was there. You had to have like your library passport, you had to get the book, you had to carry it home, you had to read the book, because there is no like control F search for whatever the key phrase is. You had to read the whole book and then you write. And today you have like all of this information is like just fingertips away. If you want to know like it, and even if you see on TikTok and then you say like, okay, this is a 1 minute video, but I'm not good enough, and let's stay with the example Excel because it's an example everybody can grab, is that you don't understand what the hell that person is doing in that 1 minute because it's so fast, then you can basically switch the medium and just like pause the video and Google like the term that person is using in Excel, and you'll probably find a YouTube video which is 10 minutes, 20 minutes long, explaining the same thing. So it's like I'm using Google like regularly to learn stuff, even on if I need on what did I Google last? I Googled, for example, morality clauses in franchise contracts. You can Google that. You can Google like franchise fees of McDonald's. For example, I did that as well because we're right now doing a deep dive in franchising because our company is developing into that direction. So that knowledge is there. Why not use it? I mean, yes, I could pay like a franchise advisor a lot of money, which is as well a very valid tool, but not for those easy answers. And if I go to my lawyer and say I want to have a morality clause for the franchising contract, then he's going to give me probably a morality clause that pretty much looks like the morality clauses I'm seeing there, because there were 10 different examples from 10 different franchise contracts and they looked all pretty much the same. So it's like I can pay my lawyer 250 euros, or I can just do like it took me maybe 15 minutes to do the search and then another 15 minutes to read and decide on which one I'm gonna take.
Well, before this goes in the wrong direction, we have to say we do really deep preparation for our lawyers and for our advisors as well. So it is not that we do this by ourselves and sending it out. We are not crazy, but you can really make sure that you like everything you do these days. The better you understand, the better you can delegate. And
that's correct.
And we paid a lot of learning money, to be honest, especially in social media and social media management. They promised us everything and did not deliver anything. So
that's a summary in one sentence.
Yeah. Well, what I should say, it was really a learning part, and we paid really a lot of money for that. So we do not say that you should look up for in Google and run the whole business based on Google. And Excel is really like an easy example, because in Excel you try and you know when is the error, because Excel shows when it's the error. In business, if you have like things you look up in this direction, or investments, for example, they're like you have 10 experts and 11 opinions. This is really difficult to find the right thing, but you can really get an idea of in which direction it goes and what questions you have to ask. And I think this is a really good base to move on and to go to the next level. Because if you decide to ask an expert and to take on board an advisor, you need to make sure that you have the right people on board. And we had, for example, like I think we have now the 4th tax advisor, because we with each tax advisor we got we got the experience what kind of questions we have to ask in order to get the right advisor that he is thinking like in our direction at least, and make things happen for us. Because if we would be a tax advisor and have the knowledge of them, we would not give our stuff to a tax advisor, obviously. So unfortunately, tax advisors in Germany do not advise. Like, they are actually really paid bookkeepers, really well paid bookkeepers, nothing more. And this was super frustrating. And a lot of people out there call themselves as an expert and tell you in which direction you have to go. But how you can, the way you can make the difference between a good advisor and a bad advisor is that you see how they treat you and how they help you to understand the whole material. And for this, you have to be able to ask the right question. So there's basically no way around like Google searches, TikTok searches, or something like that. It's just the fast way to grab a lot of knowledge and to at least be able to delegate in a better way.
That's correct. Because it's like, and there are in Germany there are a few good tax advisors that are really thinking like entrepreneurs and like business people, but they are hard to find and even harder to keep. And they're very well paid for what they do because they are worth every penny. And those things, and this is like the same when you have investment advisors, when you have it doesn't matter, like real estate agents, insurance brokers, car salesmen, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can like on everything you can basically Google and at least like get another opinion. Okay, and what you have to be aware of that when you Google, what you find are not necessarily facts. Okay, those are sometimes they are other people's opinions. So you have to be aware that when you are looking for something and there comes like on the morality clauses or something like that, you still have to run that by the lawyer of your trust, right? In order to make sure, okay, this makes sense. I didn't like Google bullshit, so to say. But here
we are again.
but the reason, sorry for that. But the reason is that first of all, how I ended up with that I figured out, because we had our franchise contract designed by a lawyer and there was no morality clause in the first draft. But by Googling franchise contracts of other companies, I came across something called the morality clause. And this is then where I started, what is this? How is it working? What is it for? And so I Googled like all of these questions and all of these answers, and then basically came up with the examples, and they are going to go back in. And now there is going to be another process. But this is the same when you have an accountant, when you have a controller, but sometimes even like when you have salespeople, when they tell you like your competition is like doing this and this is why they can't sell your product or your widget or your service, you can Google your competition, right? You can Google different people. Like for example, when you go into a negotiation, you can Google your counterpart. When you know the name, you can Google them and you can like search all of social media and find out what their interests are. I mean, there is so much data available today. I mean, on one hand, it's scary. On the other hand, right, it's a big tool for you to prepare yourself, and you shouldn't waste that opportunity, because if you go into a negotiation and you know your counterpart, you can estimate how old he or she is, maybe even somewhere on social media they show a photo with their kids, or with their dog or their cat or whatever, and somewhere maybe a vacation photo. So you can put that all into your file. And yes, I'm saying into your file, because if you go into negotiation, you should have a file for your counterparts and the company and everything. But also for the companies, like when you want to like do business or partner with a company, you can Google that company, you can get all of their history online, the credit score, the like all of these different things is no problem. You can get them all of the time. And I mean, the other great advantage is available almost any time, 7 days a week, except for when they have a server problem, or you don't have internet.
And this is everything for free, but I don't think this is the problem, to be honest, that people do not know that they can find the things on Google. But I think the problem is that the most people don't know how to use this information, how to implement information and what they learned. I think there is the gap. So first of all, you have to do the right search, the correct search, to get this information what you really need. Then you have to be able to make the difference between is it a good information or a bad information, is this right or wrong, and how you can use that. And then you can all collect this information, and then but you have to implement. And to be honest, like we have for 4 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, we launched an online course for 90 days. You know what? Like nobody of our people, they subscribed for this online course, made it over the 11th day.
And they paid for it?
Nobody was, and they were interested in that. It's just because they are not consistent. And this we see all over. And to be honest, like I'm overwhelmed with all these offers as well. Like I have a lot of courses in my I have a system where I save this courses, and of course, like you grab the offers what are there, and then you schedule the time and you try to do it like once you have the time, and you schedule the things. At least me do that. And of course, a lot of times there comes something in between. So I have some courses I still want to do, and learning Turkish, for example. Like I have the access, but I need to implement that, and you need to take the time for that. So the thing is not that if you say, well, I cannot afford a coach, or I cannot afford an expert or an advisor. That might be right, but on the other side, there's so many knowledge out there. You just have to grab it, to find it, to grab it, and implement that. And my question would be like, how many people are doing this basically? Because they know it's available. But we made this experience as well, that a lot of people are just not, like, they would never come to this idea to Google for like in your case, like how to use this Excel formula, or like how can I do this with Excel, because they don't even have an idea that Excel could do that. So how they could look for this question. So I think that the basic things, like a lot of people, if they want to start a company, they are more into like how I can use social media and how I can be like, an influencer and all the things like that. And they are focusing oftentimes on the wrong things because they think this is how to build a company, instead of going deep into the things. And this is where I think that university or like the school education comes in as well, because we learned how to learn, and you see a big difference of people. They didn't went to university. They have no idea how to learn.
Yeah, it's like you need to learn how to learn, and this is definitely right. In the university, you are forced to do that, because like in the school, you basically get presented with what you need to learn, and then you just have to, like, you learn it together in the lesson, then you have to repeat it in homework, and then at one point you have to pass a test. And university is different because it's basically telling you what to learn but not how, and then it's like quizzing you in a more difficult test. So you have to basically bridge the gap between the result and the information that you get, what you should learn. Like you have to learn the learning. And this is in university, it's systemized. This is why, like when you go through university, you learn how to learn. I'm a little bit critical with the bachelor's stuff because it's more schoolish type of environment, but you still learn how to learn, and it's like when you do an apprenticeship, for example, then you don't have that because it's like a school. You get told what to do, and you basically just repeat what you see and what you hear and what you write. And if you then, in Germany, there is something it's called Meister, which is like a master technician. If you do your technician or your master technician in Germany, then you see again a difference because they also learn how to learn, because they get told how it works in case A, and now they have to take the knowledge learned in case A and apply it to case B, where basically they need the same type of knowledge, but to find the solution is a total different path. And this is your right on that is it's not that the information isn't there. It's definitely there. It's searchable because Google solved that issue, and the second biggest search engine is YouTube actually. It belongs to Google, one. So there you go. So it's number one and number two. But the thing is, it's right. Is if you don't know how to look for it, you will not find it, right? Because on Google, and this is like when I start Googling something, then I use different questions, different sentences, different combination of keywords, just in order to see how much different results I'm getting. And at one point you will see, because every time you click on a Google link, it's basically not blue anymore, but it's getting purple. And like when you change your keyword through and you see often that all of the purple ones are coming back up again, then you know you are somehow like eliminating like random information, because like you are always finding like the same kind of information with different words. This is how like it's basically like you are running circles around what you want to have, and then you make the circle smaller and smaller and smaller until you are where you want to be. And the other thing is, and this is I think a big thing, is time allocation. Is because is what I said, if you open TikTok, you can make the choice if you watch 1 minute of dance video or if you watch 1 minute of Excel. And I don't say you have to do it like 24 hours. We don't do it, and we have times where we watch Netflix or where we watch some other things, just in order to shut the brain out, right? You shouldn't be like on the couch, like and just 5 minutes before you go to bed, like start like with all of the educational stuff, because then it's going to be hard to get into sleep and stuff, until you have to do it because you don't have any other time. Then we did it, and then it's just something that you have to do, but then you are also willing to only sleep 4 hours a night. But if you like a lot of people basically have all the information, they have the hardware because they have a computer. You don't need an iPhone to use Google, right? Any phone is going to do it, and any computer is going to do it. So but they say they have no time, but then they are like there and like saying, okay, I need like 1 hour of relaxing. It's like, yeah, but you look, if you want to get like paid more in your, like if you are an administrator, if you want to be promoted, if you want to be paid more, and like a lot of your work is going to be basically in Microsoft Office or in databases like salesforce.com or in Fusionsoft or like all of the CRM tools, they have great tutorials as well. Is that you can watch half an hour at night a tutorial about how to use salesforce.com, and if you get faster and better than everybody else in your company, guess who they gonna make like the key user, the champion? It's gonna be you. Yes, you can wait until your company pays for a course and you might be selected or you might not be selected, right? It's then on the discretion of the company. But if everybody in the office always comes to you anyway because you are the best, like the best person to ask for Excel, the best person to ask for PowerPoint, for whatever is like the key tool you are using in your environment, then like people will, like, if it will get noticed. Don't underestimate that. Like people will talk about, and sooner or later your boss, he or she will have a question on Excel or PowerPoint, or see an amazing presentation or a really great Excel sheet and say, hey, who did that? And then somebody will say that, well, I did it, but she really helped me. Or it's even you who presented it, who did it, and it looks just so much better than everything else they have seen. Or you are just able to process much more tasks a day than somebody else. And that has two advantages. Is either if doing this Excel sheet you are given one day and you can do it in 2 hours, you just gain 6 hours, because usually people are quite happy to pay the result and not the working time. Or you can just ask for more tasks, and again you will be noticed because you are just much more efficient than everybody else.
I mean, I have like a little story just for the end, because when we lived in France and I was working with a company, they had really I would say, a not really efficient tool for their invoicing and for their accounting. So every month when they had their meeting with the investors, they had to get the numbers. And my boss was really stressed by that at this time. So I realized every time when I had to prepare the numbers, I had to go through the system, and it was not really clear for me because you could not filter the information you needed. So I created an Excel sheet, and I did it all by tutorial, and I worked there for several weeks to build this Excel sheet in order to get all this information in and to get the information out with less clicks than I did before. And I learned everything. Like, I was already firm with Excel before, but with this I really created a whole working document by itself. And I love this to create things like that because it gives you an overview, although it can be really, really dangerous if there are many people working on that, and there are mistakes in. But on the other side, now being the boss and having people around me sending me reports and documents, I can tell you can really see the difference who put effort into a document and who not. Like, how is the format, how is it done, do they have the view for the detail and all the things like that. And you see how people are working with the tools. And it's still like this, that the bosses and the management, they have a specific education, and the Microsoft Office package, I would say, is one of that. They really learned a lot because you are using this in university and all the things like that, and they want to have it proper. So I already started educating myself with this at school when I did my A-level degree. So I had courses already at school for that, and I I'm freaking out when I get a document back which is not formatting in the sense of Microsoft Word. And I have to do everything manual because you cannot use the tools what's in there. So I have to, like, for example, mark something as a title or all the things like that. And then if you want to do the agenda, you have to go through the whole document. And if it has 80 pages, like, I'm freaking out because you can format a document like this for a full day. This is what we did when we did our last
diploma
report.
thesis,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was like we made the night through before we get it to the print in order to make sure that the format is right. And just to it's not about how you do the documents and all the things. It's just like that you really understand that you can get information on anything you need. But with small things like that, how to use a document, how to use a tool, people will see your effort already. So,
Yeah.
and if you come up and I think the point is here not how to use Google and how to do the things. The point is with what questions you're coming up, asking your colleagues, your partners, your bosses, and they will see, like, did you already think about or thought about your question before? Did you already ask Google before you asked them? Or just did you ask them because it was the easiest way? And my point would be that tonight or today, like wherever you are in the world, we are sitting here
At night.
And that you just think like, just put your question in Google. Just a tip from my side: put your question in Google or like the tool you want to that you're using before you ask your colleague, your partner, your boss, or delegate the things to the wrong person, maybe as well, to an expert or an advisor, because it makes life so much easier. And if you use advisors and consultants and you ask kind of questions, they really filter you out in which direction you are and what they can charge you as well. So that would be my tip for tonight.
That's true. If they figure out that you haven't used Google and that you are uninformed, that with some consultants, not all, but with some, you're definitely going to be in for a ride because they're going to take you advantage, especially if you pay them by the hour. So I think that concludes it for today. Pretty much use Google, use YouTube, use TikTok, use all the tools you can that give you knowledge for free, and just make sure that you are getting that advantage over everybody else. It's great tools, they are free, and they just require your time, and you can use them from anywhere in this world. With that, thank you for listening in, and we hope to hear you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to get paid? Introducing Legacy Builders Global, where everybody gets paid. We don't create investors. We create legacy builders. Legacy Builders Global. Visit us at www.legacybuildersglobal.com.